Number one is I genuinely believe that I can help people, that I can deal with and cure many of the problems in New York City. Homelessness is one, crime is another, and I believe that I can actually make a difference. I've been a pastor for 44 years. I've ran a homeless shelter for that many years, or 40 years at the very least. I've ran an education system in a multi-million-dollar ministry as well. And so I believe I can change the order of New York City drastically and justifiably. But also I want to be able to help people. I feel that no one really cares about the poor or the working class. There's really no genuine, sincere care for them. So that would be item number two of the triangular, if you will, reason. And the other reason is that this church has been ripped off and threatened by the Mellon Bank in the city of New York for nearly 15 years. They've threatened to take our property, and I've just had enough of the corruption in Wall Street, the corruption and the corporate greed, and the carelessness about New York politics. So I'm in the race, and I'm going to win it. I'm going to win it for those reasons I just said to you just a moment ago. They have lodged a suit against our church, a tax lien suit against our church for water and sewer charges that we have been fighting in the courts for 15 years. It started out as a $36,000 lawsuit against our church for water and sewer. And as you can see in this building, it's completely used for church purposes, but because we have housing upstairs for the teachers that work in the school and for people that take care of the building, they would not exempt the entire building. And so we have been fighting that. It has mushroomed from $36,000 to now $4.6 million with an 18% draconian interest. But I want to be able to correct the injustices that are going on in New York City, mainly because politicians and corporate greed and those that are in power tend to not really care about the concerns of people that are working class. And generally, what happens is that working class don't get the kind of attention. The suffering continues. Politicians promise, I'm not a politician, and I never will be, but I'm going to take the office of mayor because I believe I can. Beyond that, and closely associated with that, number two is that I want to help people. I've been in this community here in the heart of Harlem through the crack epidemic, through now the homeless epidemic, through the genocidal, if you will, gentrification. I've watched the suffering of the people. I've watched young men nodding out on the street on drugs. I watched men sleeping on the sidewalks. I've watched that pain, and I really want to help. I know that I can. I know that I have the ability to be able to do it. And so that's one of the motivations. And then the other motivation is that the city of New York has been really involved in racketeering in terms of taking people's property. I'm not the only one. They just haven't been able to take this one. There have been foreclosure after foreclosure after foreclosure on people's homes, especially black and brown people, destroying generational wealth. If the city puts a tax lien against a property here in the city of New York, and for water or sewer charges, or for taxes that are not paid to the city, usually the person who has that tax lien put against them can't afford to pay the taxes on the house at the time anyway. It's sold to a real estate developer who then puts 18% interest on that. How are you going to ever pay? The property is gone. It's a racket. They've done the same thing to us. They did it 15 years ago. But thus far, for the past 15 years, I've been able to stave off them taking our property, but they have not quit. It started out at $36,000, and now it's up to $4.6 million with that 18% interest. It's absolutely incredible. But I've been able to fight them. But I'm going to go to City Hall, and I'm going to fight for people who've lost their property, that they get their properties back. one of the things I think that I'm going to do, in fact, I know I'm going to do, is that I'm going to enact legislation that will infuse $41 billion into poor, working class, and marginalized neighborhoods. The U.S. Census Bureau of 2023 stated that nearly 2 million people in the New York City area live at or below the poverty level. That's a lot of people living in poverty in New York City. While over the last 10 years, America has created over 1,000 new billionaires. What I'm going to do is I'm going to infuse, the $41 billion will come on this wise. I'm going to raise the minimum wage from $16.50 per hour here in New York City to $27 per hour, which would then raise the minimum income of every household that has a minimum wage status to $51,000 per year. Or across the board at 2 million people, raising it from $16.50 to $27 per hour would bring annually 41 billion new dollars to these communities. That means that people will be able to afford better housing, be able to afford better food. I met with a man earlier today, said, I want to take a vacation. I haven't been able to take a vacation. It would increase lifestyle. The thing of it is, and the opponents of minimum wage, they argue, well, it's going to cause small businesses to close. The problem is with that is that if you're running a small business, I understand potentially you got to better manage your business if you're going to raise the wages. But the problem is that people who are living okay, who are making $70, $80, $90, $100,000 a year, don't realize how painful and how hard it is to try to live off of $16 an hour, off of, what is it, $27,000, $37,000 a year. It's hard to live in New York City off of that little bit of money. You're always living in fear. You're going to have to live in a substandard housing, substandard, if you will, services and supplies, no hot water, sometimes rats and roaches running all over the place. You can't afford items like watermelon in the summertime. You just can't go over budget. It's painful. And somebody has to speak up for these people because they don't have any money, they don't have any voices, and people who are doing okay say, don't raise the minimum wage. But you got to realize they're getting paid. They're always going to their bosses looking for more money on the jobs that they're on. No, we're going to do it. I'm going to raise the minimum wage. That's going to bring billions of dollars into poor and marginalized neighborhoods. So that's another policy. I got others. I got a whole lot more. First of all, on my first day of being installed, and all the press is there listening to what I'm going to say, I'll inform the world that Donald John Trump is a pathological degenerate. The man he should not be allowed out by himself. I'm serious. Trump doesn't give a damn about anybody but Trump and money. I don't know if he gives a damn about his own family. I think he wants to have sex with his daughter, whatever her name is. He keeps talking about how good looking she is. The man's a degenerate. America has put in place perhaps one of the most pathological, if you will, persons this nation has ever seen. And don't they realize who the hell he is? I mean, what is going on that he's allowed to do these things? And by the way, here's the issue with the so-called immigration. MAGA, which is largely white America, but not all of white America, because you got some Democrats, some liberals and progressive. But MAGA is concerned about, and I don't like using these terms, and I'm not a racist, but MAGA is afraid that 10, 20 years from now, black and brown people will outpopulate them, that there'll be more black people, more brown people who will possibly vote Democrat than white people, that white people are dwindling in their population in America. And so they're growing. So this whole business about immigration is not about crime. Now there is crime going on, and it shouldn't happen. Anybody that does it should cut their heads off. But that is what this is all, what immigration is all about. That's not what's going on in America right now. What's going on in America right now is stopping brown people and black people. You notice he's not exporting any people from Finland, from Switzerland, from Germany, from England. It's all people with brown skin and black skin. And I'm not a racist. They are. They are the ones who are afraid of the fact they're going to be overpopulated. And so as a result of that, Trump understands that. But by the way, I don't think Trump is a racist. I think he's just doing whatever it is to give him political power in terms of, so those are the people, and he wants to spread fear in the hearts of people. We got people that are members of our church. Well, we got one man from Mali. He's got 2 students in our school. He's moving to Canada because he's scared he's going to get picked up. His wife is going to get picked up and sent back to Mali. His children gonna get picked up. That's fear. The man's an engineer, came from Mali, got a degree, got an engineering degree, and he's striking fear in a whole lot of people. The man is a pathological degenerate, and it needs to be, and somebody needs to say it. It's a massive undertaking, as you have just stated, and understand. The truth of the matter is, in terms of black or African American people, we need a moral revolution. Our morals and mores, if you will, our lifestyle understanding needs a quick and a powerful upgrade, quickly, because we're headed in the wrong direction. Forget about racism right now. We're headed in the wrong direction. See, the problem is that if we, let's say African Americans or blacks, are going in the wrong direction, that's going to increase racism. Listen, there's tension and racism between people from South America, or from Mexico, or from Guatemala, Nicaragua, El Salvador, and Brazil, Argentina. There is racism just as strong with black people and Latinos. And mainly because of black people won't tell you, and then all the pensioners, Negroes, that black people have representing them in colleges and in politics won't tell you either. But the reason why there's racism and tension between Latinos and blacks is because blacks are going in a different direction. They're not as well, if you will, appreciative of America, or they are the mindset that everything ought to be given to them. They're not as industrious. Listen, there's racism between blacks in America and African Americans. Africans come from Africa and work their behinds off. They say, this is a great opportunity. They think, I'm in America, praise God, I'm gonna make a life for myself. Hell, black people that live here don't give a damn about that. They don't care. They don't educate themselves. They don't upgrade their lives. The fathers make babies and don't take care of the children. So it's a massive problem. But here's what needs to be said. But no politician, especially a black one, will say it. Black people need a revolution in terms of their own spiritual, social. And once they become, let's say for instance, every black man was industrious as the man who came from Mali, who worked as a janitor, slept in a corner, now has an engineer degree. Suppose every black man walking the street with his pants down or rapping did the same thing, took care of his family, sending money back home to Mali. Suppose all the black men you see walking the streets of Harlem, Bed-Stuy, Brownsville did the same thing. It would release some of the racism. You know, people tend to not mind you so much what your color is if you got money. But if you don't have money and you have a mentality of crime, that's going to keep people fighting and disunified. I plan to speak to that and to correct it. Running as an independent, first because I couldn't be a Democrat. I just can't stomach their godless policies. I think that I did lean at one point towards the Republican ideal, but Trump is a disaster for the Republican Party at this moment. I mean, it's a dirty word here in New York City to say Republican, because of Trump and the madness that he is doing. Normally, under normal circumstances, or some quasi-normal circumstances, it might be a bit difficult. But we have, leading the pack now for the mayor of the city of New York is Andrew Cuomo, former Governor Andrew Cuomo, who had to resign from that position as governor because of all the sexual assault charges, legal, that were leveled against him. 12 women have brought legal charges against him. How many women who just didn't come forward? The man is a psycho, he's a predator. He's a sexual maniac. I mean, okay, maybe one woman might say you came on to her the wrong way, you know, or maybe two women over a period of 20 years. That some woman might say, well, you know, he did this, he did that. But 12, all within the same couple of years? The man's a predator. And so I'm going to express that. I don't say it just like that. He's a predator, and he wants to, and he had to leave the office of governor because he's a predator. So I think that once that's made clear and understood, it will not be difficult to defeat him. Eric, and some other things about him I could say about Andrew Cuomo. But there's also Eric Adams, who's probably very popular because he's well known. He has 100% name recognition, so everybody knows who he is. He's running too. He's running as an independent. I'm running as an independent. Cuomo's running as an independent. I'm going to kick all their butts when I get them on the stage. My belief is this, is that I just want the opportunity to debate them. That's all I want. If you let me get on the stage, let me open up my mouth. Known to have been, who's in court right now, and Eric Adams rather, what a sellout. What? Okay, so he conspired to try to get money to run his campaign. I don't appreciate it. I think it's wrong. But if you've been charged and indicted, go to court, go to trial, take it to the jury, take it to a judge, hire yourself a $2 million fancy lawyer with a fancy suit and a fancy briefcase, get in that courtroom and have that lawyer dance on those jurors till they come back with a no guilty verdict. He's the mayor of the city of New York. How's everybody gonna find him guilty? You know what he did? He went down to Mar-a-Lago and kissed Trump's behind. I mean, what kind of man would do that? You're the mayor of New York City. You gonna kiss this white man's butt? And he takes, and everybody knows that's what you did. I mean, he would have never been convicted. Trust me. As his lawyer, I would have gotten him off because there's a lot of weak stuff. There's always a chance to get off. But to kiss a man's behind, and then everybody knows that's what you did. First of all, it says you're guilty as hell. That's what the first thing. And it says you're weak, you don't have any strength. If that's how you're gonna fight for your life, you can't fight for me, homie. Not like that. I don't want butt kissers leading me. If you're gonna stand up like a man, take it like a man, and I'll, even if you lose, I'm still with you. But you stood up like a man. Hell with Eric Adams. This question might seem a bit esoteric. I have, when you go back outside of a building, you walk towards Lenox Avenue. Look up on the side of the building, you will see a huge portrait of an arch. That's a stone fixture that rises up into the sky, and cars can drive underneath it, people can walk underneath it. It's on the side of our building. It's been out there now for 11 years. I've called it the Middle Passage Arch. What I plan to do when I do become the mayor of the city of New York, and I will, is to enact legislation both at the state, city, and federal level to build what is known as the Middle Passage Arch on 125th Street and 7th Avenue. If you'll notice, Adam Clayton Powell 7th Avenue runs north and south, 125th runs east and west. Well, there's an island right there in the middle of that. I plan to put one base over here on the north side, a base on, and then build it up 50 to 70 feet up in the air as a stone monument and memorial and gravestone for all the people that died in the Middle Passage. That is the time when the slave trade was happening between 1600 and 1900, and people were leaving Africa, coming to America. It took 3.5 months to 4 months for ships to reach America. A lot of people died, and they just didn't make it, and they were thrown overboard. Babies were thrown overboard. Husbands watched their wives, wives watched their husbands. Some of them made it, but not everybody. I want to build that arch and memorial for those persons that died. what that does, and you may, the reason I said it's a bit esoteric, you may not appreciate what that does. And when we dedicate it to that purpose, and not for racist reasons, by the way, I'm doing it because those people, their voices were buried beneath the waves. Their cry comes out from underneath waves right now. Nobody never recognized. We don't hell know what their names are. They're just buried, and nobody knows where. Nobody. And so I want to answer that cry by putting a stone monument. And the stones I'm going to use, I'm going to get from Ghana, from Angola, from Sierra Leone, from Mali, and we're going to put all those stones together to build that stone creature. What that's going to do, I believe that will give more righteous pride and dignity to black people than anything, including what Dr. King did. But when you think about what that means, there's never been anything memorializing black people as that. There's never been anything that has given credit as memorial, as powerful as that. I believe that would give us something literally and both spiritually to look up to, and would change our minds about slavery, and change our minds about being here in America. On one side of the Atlantic, you got Africans who want to come here, and because they know they can make a great life for them. On the other side of the Atlantic, you got blacks who are already here who don't have enough damn sense to realize what the Africans on the other side realize. I believe that this will bring a sense of unity, will then bring a sense of healing between all the nations, all the people. And I'm going to do it too. Look at it when you go back out there. Look at it. It's up on the wall. Been out there for 11 years. I've been planning this. I didn't just plan this for the mayoral campaign. I've been planning this for years. I'm going to get it done.